Hi there YouTube, this is the Magnus bringing you another Total War Warhammer online ladder battle. With the Grim Engrave coming out, I didn't know what to expect on the ladder, and you probably don't too. Let's take a look at what I got. I decided to play as the Warriors of Chaos, and I'm going to be facing off against the dreaded Empire. Now I bring 3 Chosen, 2 Chaos Warriors with Halberds, 2 with Great Weapons, 4 Forsaken, and Archaon the Ever-Chosen on his mount with the 2 buff abilities. My opponent elects to bring a pretty standard Empire army, nothing much of the new stuff. He brings 2 Demigryph Knights with Halberds, a very good choice and very standard, but he also adds the Knights of the Blazing Sun, which is his only new unit. He brings 2 Crossbowmen, he brings 3 Great Swords, and 2 Spearmen, as well as 2 Empire Captains on horse with healing potions, and Karl Franz on his freaky flying monster. Now, as my army is entirely composed of infantry, with the exception of Archaon on his mount, I'm going to make the immediate push up the hill. And because he has the terrain advantage, he's going to pretty much let me do that and let me bring it to him. Now, before the clash actually starts here, I want to point out something that was not in the patch notes, and that is a couple of key changes for the pricing of Warriors of Chaos units. One is that all Chaos Warriors, whether they have Great Weapons, the regular variant, or the Halberds, all got a price reduction of 25. I feel like 50 would have been a lot better, of course, but 25 is a good start. The other change they made is Chaos Knights, whether you go with the Lances and Barding or not, are now 100 cheaper. So as I advance up, you're going to notice I'm trying to bring my Forsaken around each of the flanks because they're quite quick and do a lot of damage, so they're good for that purpose. His Demigryphs intercept one of my Forsaken, so I'm bringing up the Halberds and the Great Swords to assist. These Halberds are chasing this Demigryph Knight because I've found a lot of times if you put them on a expensive cavalry unit, people will run and run to avoid them, and I'm fine with that. My I think they're 975 unit, negating his 1500 as much as possible is a good trade-off. Over here, he's let them go as he's seen the Halberds coming, so these Forsaken are going to start to push up to follow these ones, and I have one doing a hook on the other side. Now I'm going to head for his Crossbowman, but he's going to do a great job of intercepting. In the meantime, the infantry lines begin to engage. Obviously, with how much infantry I brought and how strong Chaos Infantry is, I definitely feel that is my strength in the battle. So most of my focus is on trying to get good angles with my infantry and to get into his Crossbowman as soon as possible. So I'm bringing the Forsaken up over here. He's cycle charging with the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Sorry, it's going to take me a little while to get used to some of these new units. We're going to have a little duel here between Archaon and Karl Franz. Now Karl Franz, because of his mount, is going to be stronger and do more damage, but I have the Flaming Sword of Ruin and the ability to cast Cascading Fire Cloak, which I do every chance I can get, and I also bring Standard Die for that little extra punch. Now some of my infantry on this side are retreating, so he's done well there, but in the center he's been cancelled out. His missiles have been completely wrapped up by my Forsaken, and over here so far we have a pretty close infantry engagement. My Halberds are still chasing one of these guys around. These ones I decided to go ahead and bring in. Now we're going to see my micro mistake of the day. I'm actually going to send them right into here and not notice that the Knights of the Blazing Sun were right here, and I could have really put a hurt on them. So unfortunate, but when you have so many units and you're playing live, mistakes can, will, and do happen. Now you're going to see here on my left, he's getting completely swamped, and the men who retreated are coming back in. But throughout this battle, now and later, he does a great job of cycle charging with his cav. This is his advantage. He has mobility and he has charge bonus. Mine is the infantry straight up, so he's playing to his advantage, I'm playing to mine. Now all this is melded away, so I'm going to pull these guys over to help here. His cavalry are still doing a great job of picking off some of the stragglers there. He's cycle charging again. He was able to break my infantry here, my chosen, which is very hard to do. And my other halberds are finally going to get into the fight. I'm doing the best I can to chase his units, pin them down, and do as much damage as I possibly can. You're going to see there's a lot of fighting going on here in the center. And most of the rest of the battle is going to be a slog, so let's go ahead and enjoy some of the close-ups. There's Carl coming in and just making a mess. Great charge. He's doing the same thing with his cavalry, but you're going to see more of my infantry coming in, the great weapons, who do very good damage. We're going to start hacking away. But here comes the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Boom. Excellent charge. Great looking unit, by the way. Just absolutely fantastic model. I'm really happy with the things they did in DLC. And overall, having got to play it a little bit, I feel it's a very good value at, I think it was $7 or $8. Can't complain about that. So you're going to see I'm just trying to pin down anything I can. He's trying to get as many cycle charges as humanly possible. I don't think either of us are playing poorly. The only thing I would do differently on top of that miss we noted earlier was not to blob up as much, to instead of have everybody chase one unit, break it into two groups and try to chase 2 units at a time. But a lot of times I just didn't have that opportunity. Like here I had this, and then Karl Franz comes in, so I'm like, ooh, I want to kill him. But his mass is incredible. You're going to see my guys have a hell of a time trying to pin him down. Infantry just aren't going to get the job done. More cycle charging from my opponent. He's doing a great job. And my infantry are doing a great job of hanging in there. So really it's just a battle of wills and stats at this point. All I can do is try to get surrounds and get as many of my guys into combat as humanly possible. And all that he can really do at this point is continue to cycle charge and use his mobility and charge bonus to the greatest effect that he can. And I think he's doing a great job coming in on one side with the cavalry and the other with Karl Franz. He's just dragging guys along. And then he takes off again. And then we turn around. And we're going to go ahead and back out and speed up, because the end of the battle is definitely interesting. But you can see I'm at a huge advantage at this point. And I respect the fact that my opponent is trying to marshal his forces. And he is trying to find a way to win this. I don't know that, I wouldn't do the same. So he's going to give it the old college try. But overall, I just have too much on the field, and the Chaos Warriors infantry is just so darn good. Now, they are expensive, no question about it. They're very good at what they do. And I do think that the current metagame, unless the missile buffs really make a difference, I feel the meta really favors infantry. So let's take a look at the results. Archaon had 39 kills, he stayed alive, and he buffed the entire fight. That means he did his job, and I'm very happy with that. The Forsaken, the ones that got back in the missiles, did great. The ones that got caught up by Cav or stronger infantry, not so much. The great weapons, one of them did very well. The other one that, again, was mixed up with Cav didn't do that well. The Chaos Warriors with halberds, not a ton of kills, but again, this one was chasing cavalry for a long time, which is, as long as he kept them out of battle for a while, is a good thing. And this one had a lot of cavalry kills. And my chosen all survived, although 2 of them did flee at one point, and they hung in there for a very long time against vicious charges and were able to help turn things in my favor. For my opponent, his spearmen were useless because I didn't have any large, so they got absolutely butchered. His crossbowmen, he was not able to keep away from my very fast, for foot soldiers, Forsaken, who ripped them apart, so he didn't get good value out of them. The Demigryph Knights with the halberds did well, but again, because I didn't bring large, they weren't as effective as they should have been. Knights of the Blazing Sun did well, but not great. And his great swords just didn't get the kind of numbers that he needs out of that expensive and specialized unit. And is that partially because of the nerf? I don't know. His Empire captains brought a lot of survivability, but not a lot of killing. Karl Franz did well. He always does, and he's always a threat on the battlefield. So against a pretty standard Empire army that I feel was microed quite well, again, I was able to pull off a win with the Warriors of Chaos. Now, do I feel that because of the couple buffs that weren't in the patch notes, as far as cost reduction and just the overall playability of them. Do I think they're a top tier faction? No. I still feel Warriors of Chaos definitely need some love. They have very few units that are cost effective. But can you win with them? And even against strong factions and strong players? Absolutely. And it's a lot of fun. I love playing the underdog. I love the style of the Warriors of Chaos. I love the lore. I love the flavor. So I enjoy it. Now, if you've figured out anything different with this build, or you have another build that you feel is better, or certain units you think that are better in here, please leave it in the comments. I'm looking to improve on the Warriors of Chaos and every faction in my play, but really the Warriors of Chaos because I love winning as an underdog. The biggest question for me is Archaon the best choice? You get the combination of the fire buffs and a great melee fighter. Is that enough to justify 2,000 cost? I don't know. But I like them so far. So anyways, if you enjoyed the battle, or if you learned something here, and hopefully both, please like, please subscribe. I'm going to be bringing you a lot more videos here in the coming future about the different factions and how the patch affected them. I'm going to be doing more of my guides as far as the different factions for competitive play. And I intend to start a new series that's going to teach you the basics and eventually more advanced tactics and strategy for multiplayer battle, including the deployment phase and choosing your units and your army and your composition, really everything. So I've got a couple of requests for that, and I think it's a great idea. So anyways, I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked this build. I look forward to your comments. And until the next time, this is the Magnus. Thanks and take care.